watch it. I think I got my head chopped off in the 9th episode. I stopped watching it then. No, I do. I catch up on it now and again, but I really should get the box sets. It's my wife, she's not seen it, so I'd like to sit down with her and play them all rather than just catching bits here and there. Because you don't know what's going on.
Live stream that. We all want to watch Ned Stark watch Game of Thrones, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the show has. Wait till you see it. I mean, everything has changed from the effects to the the amount of money HBO has put behind it.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
It's really amazing.
Yeah.
So who would you want to end up on the Iron Throne if it was up to you? But I know you haven't watched it, but.
Who's still alive? I don't know.
That's a good place to start. Well, you have Daenerys, you have Jon Snow, Jaime Lannister, Tyrion Lannister, Cersei Lannister. Guys, who's still alive?
I think Jon Snow.
Brienne of Tarth?
Would Jon Snow be a good choice? I don't know.
I think he is a good choice.
Possibly, yeah. I think I'd say Jon Snow, yeah.
But I don't want to spoil anything for you now because you haven't seen it, so I can't even tell you what happened with Jon Snow last season, right, guys? I mean, we all thought you were his dad.
Well, yeah, I thought that when I was doing it. They didn't tell me, which is just as well, because I treated him as a son, and that's the way it should be. But no, I didn't know. Everybody kept asking me. I said, I don't know. What do you think? You know, because that was the idea, wasn't it? It's like, who killed JR? You know, it kept it going and going.
Hey everybody, it's Charlie. So there was a whole bunch of new Season 8 Winds of Winter stuff that just dropped between a couple different interviews, Sean Bean and then separately George R. Martin. So this will be a breakdown for the really big stuff that they talked about, like Sean Bean revealed what happened when he was getting beheaded, what his last words were, because you really only see his lips moving, he's muttering something, but you never find out what it is. But if you're finding me for the first time, be sure to subscribe to get all the Game of Thrones videos. I'm even doing a DVD giveaway. I'll just keep doing that till we get to Season 8, so no worries. Or when the book drops, the Fire and Blood book later this year, I'll do it for that. So let's start with the Ned Stark stuff first because of that Sean Bean clip at the beginning. So he did a couple separate interviews. When he was talking about Ned Stark's final words, he did address the idea that it had something to do with Lyanna Stark keeping his promise. But because Ned Stark was a devout follower of the old gods, a lot of people were like, maybe it had something to do with that. Sean Bean himself said that in the moment, he was actually trying to be as authentic as possible, because a lot of the structure of day-to-day life in the world of the show is based on medieval life in real world, but while they were filming it, like he himself as the actor couldn't say anything that was too specific, but goes on to say, I don't know if the religion was around in those days, whatever they were, I just thought, what would you do if this were really going to happen? You would probably pray, you would probably murmur some words, and you'd keep it quiet, you'd keep it to yourself. So his explanation for what Ned Stark is doing there is that he's just murmuring a prayer to the old gods quietly to himself. But the thing about that is that's just Sean Bean, the actor's interpretation of a book moment on the TV show. So that doesn't necessarily confirm what book Ned Stark is doing in that moment. Like maybe he actually is saying something about Lyanna Stark. So that's still wide open for theory crafting. There's a lot of symbolism and visual imagery that repeats for characters in the books that never really made it to the TV show, like Daenerys seeing the Red Door over and over again throughout her adventures. But it is kind of funny in that other interview how he talks about the TV show, like I haven't really been keeping up, stopped watching after I got beheaded. Why not Jon Snow for the Iron Throne? People have been asking him about Ned Stark for years and years, and he's like, they haven't contacted me about coming back for any kind of cameos. They cut him into a promo, I think it was either for Season 6 or Season 7, that just has some flashback scenes of Ned Stark going into the Iron Throne room. But unless they have some crazy twist, any more Ned Stark flashbacks that we get are probably going to be Rhaegar and Lyanna specific, meaning that it would be a younger version of the character coming back. But I'm not expecting that because there are only 6 episodes, so if we do get more flashbacks, they'll probably be specific to the mythology of the White Walkers and the Night King, or to Rhaegar and Lyanna. But as for actual filming right now, a lot of you have asked. I haven't been doing behind the scenes videos because it does kind of get into spoilers. Right now what they're doing, if you're wondering, there's a bunch of big green screens up. They're just filming big battle scenes with the Unsullied, which we all knew was going to happen. So it's not revelatory or anything like that. Most of you have probably guessed the reason for the really big green screens is just so it's easier to add the Night King on Viserion flying around during the battle. The bigger news, I think, is all the extra King's Landing sets that they've built that they've said will remain after the show's finale. So usually when a TV show is done with a set, they'll tear it down because they don't need to film scenes there anymore. But sometimes they'll reuse the set for other productions. Now, they didn't say they're doing a Game of Thrones movie, Most people are guessing, probably correctly, that they're going to use this for the prequel series, so we'll actually get a lot of King's Landing during the prequel series, which, even though they haven't confirmed a lot of details about the prequel series, just confirms that it's going to be one of the biggest known ones that we've seen so far, so like Dance of the Dragons or the Blackfire Rebellion. Something that isn't necessarily completely shackled to the King's Landing location as a set, but something that involves it in a really big way. So that sort of throws out the idea that they would do a series completely set in ancient Valyria, even though hopefully when we get a prequel series, if it deals more with the history of the Targaryens, we might actually get some flashbacks to ancient Valyria. But I'm really just taking this to mean that they're moving closer and closer to confirming a Dance of the Dragons series. There are a couple different series that could involve King's Landing in a big way, but Aegon's Conquest is almost too similar to what's happening on the show right now, and it feels like they want to be as different as possible while still retaining some very familiar things. And Dance of the Dragons just sort of checks all those boxes off. But the really cool thing about the fact that they film a lot of this outdoors is that the minute they start filming the pilot for whatever this prequel series is going to be, we'll have a pretty good idea of where it's set during, so that'll just narrow it way, way down. But getting into George R. Martin Winds of Winter territory, so he confirms that there's not going to be any new readings until Winds of Winter drops, meaning no new excerpts. If I can find any other videos of him reading chapters, I'll totally post them, because it is fun to watch him do that. But remember that once the book does drop, he will go on the customary book tour, so he'll go back to the practice of answering really specific questions, like he used to go to conventions regularly and answer all kinds of really specific details about the characters, about the dragons, without getting into really crazy spoilers for stuff down the road. But because the delays between the TV show and the books became such a big problem, he had to stop doing that. So that's why he hasn't been going around doing a lot of readings or answering a lot of questions. He also continues to bemoan the fact that the show is moving so much faster than the books. And I know there's been a lot of speculation about why they're ending the TV show so soon. For the most part, it's Dan and Dave's choice to end the TV show. It's not HBO's. There's a lot of confusion. When I see people comment on this, they're like, how could HBO cancel Game of Thrones this early? It has nothing to do with HBO. They would love to have 20 seasons of the main show if they could get that from the producers. The thing that most people would probably guess correctly is that Dan and Dave are just getting burnt out on the series. They want to do something else. They've just signed on to that big Star Wars trilogy that they're developing now, so they just want to move on. And had they done a page-to-screen adaptation of the books, what you would have had is like a Walking Dead situation where you have multiple different producers take over for previous showrunners. You'd also have that very real problem where the younger actors would really start aging out of their roles, and it become a real noticeable problem. But just let me know in the comments, what do you think about Ned Stark's actual final words in the books, and what do you think about the idea that King's Landing is going to be a really big location during the prequel series, and what that says about the actual story that they're going to do? So what'll happen is now that we're starting to get more and more Game of Thrones news, just as really big stuff drops, I'll do videos for it, but leave all your requests for bonus videos in the comments below. And I'll just name a new winner when I post new Game of Thrones. So click here for my Season 8 playlist, and click here for brand new Avengers Infinity War. Thank you so much for watching. Everybody stay awesome. I'll see you guys tonight.